John, before we start, I need to bring up something very important to you.
What's that?
On Twitter, I had someone say, and I quote, "When did you restart the Alex cast? You've never mentioned it on John and Alex Hate Stuff." And I went, "Oh, that was 2 years ago?" Mm-hmm. So, hi guys, my name's Alex. I host another podcast called The Alex Cast. It's been happening since 2010, and that's a show. So if you want to listen to me talk about different stuff with slightly different people, oftentimes John.
Me in a wig.
Yes. Go to alexcast.com or listen on podcatchers and things. I meant to say it because someone brought that up. I'm like, oh, that's weird because he's like a listener to this show and is unaware of the other. I'm like,
you've mentioned it before, but I feel like in passing and in a way that you'd rather not talk about it.
Yes. So speaking of that, hey, John.
What's that?
Do you know what I hate?
What?
Oh, I hate the shit out of Alien Covenant.
The physique of a Tarzan and the profile of a Cary Grant. Superior beings totally made by man.
Artificial mind.
Thrown out in perfection. Mold juice section by section. Overly to the ultimate creation.
Artificial mind.
I hate 50% of this movie because this isn't one movie. This is two movies that they smushed together inelegantly.
The old Guillermo del Toro, yeah.
Yeah, but at least Guillermo del Toro, from Jump Street, he's got a bad idea of two movies in one.
Right.
This is, I don't know, I'll do all that crap in Prometheus, but people didn't like that, so I guess I'll use some of that, and then I'll just do Aliens again at the end. Okay.
So this is Alien Covenant was Ridley Scott's sequel to Prometheus, but a prequel to Alien, so it's a sequel or prequel. There's still allegedly going to be another one, even though this one deeply underperformed, from what I understand. Ridley Scott is on record as saying that the fans were responsible for some of the decisions in this because they didn't like the lack of xenomorphs in Prometheus, which that's how you know it's going to be good, when you're like, well, I'm kowtowing to what nerds want.
I kind of disagree with the statement I'm kind of cool with listening to the audience. But when it's obviously wrong and you're not, when you're listening to the vocal minority, anybody that says, you know what's going to make a movie better? More monsters. Mm-hmm. You're a professional filmmaker, dude. Yeah. You have to understand that's a bad idea.
Well, you're not 100% wrong. Oftentimes more monsters are good, but that shouldn't have been your main takeaway from Prometheus. There's a lot, as we talked about in the other episode, there's a lot more wrong with it than how come they ain't no aliens in it.
No, but no movie has ever been improved by, there's never been a movie where we made this movie and then for the sequel just have more of the same and it's better now.
Yeah, every Godzilla movie. King of the Monsters.
But no, it wasn't that, when you think about Godzilla, you don't go, you know what made Godzilla better? Godzuki. Mm-hmm. Or Mechagodzilla. No, it's
you do go Mechagodzilla.
But he fights different things. It's so weird. So I'm just saying.
What about Gremlins?
Maybe fight Predator.
Well, he did that already twice.
Not in this continuity.
That's
no.
true.
I'm kidding about the fighting Predator. It's such a bad idea, and because I like listening to fans, because sometimes people I know you're not a big Marvel fan, but the reason that Phil Coulson as a character existed is because Whedon or whoever was running the Marvel movies at the time realized the fans just reacted to him and they're like, well, I really like this actor, so I'll just try to write him into more shit. And he became the lead of their show, and that show was really fun. And I like an auteur listening to the audience. However, listen better, you dumb shit, because you did this wrong.
Well, it just seems like this, in this particular case, whatever heady things he was trying to do in Prometheus, he just bailed on. He whatever this whole maker, I don't know. Because there's still, granted, there's some of that theme in there with David and creators or whatever. But the whole, what if you found God and he hated you thing, bah, that's out the window. Or out the bottom of the ship with a virus, I guess.
See, I liked the stuff in the film I liked, because this is two movies. This is Prometheus, and this is them trying to heady of Prometheus and just go back to redoing the original Alien. Mm-hmm. But I would have liked them to steer into the Prometheus side, even though we both weren't that big on Prometheus. But I would watch a movie, the strongest parts of this movie are, one, I like watching people do stuff in space, and that's just me.
Yeah, well,
Like,
no, I was
when
there with that. When they're fixing the thing, I was like, I could watch Danny
Exactly.
McBride and this guy just like fix stuff on the outside of the ship for a long time.
Yes, and watching Michael Fassbender, interesting man to watch.
Yeah.
Him doing shit on the ship, great.
Yeah.
And I like him as a character. Like, if they actually just decided, fuck the Xenomorphs, this is now the story of an insane, basically, robot god that's going around trying to make he's Loki. He's space robot Loki. Wonderful. And I don't mean like
Yeah.
in the Marvel sense.
No,
I mean
no.
like the actual
But it's
I almost said historical there, by the way, which would be really embarrassing.
This is all true. The weakest part of it is it's trying to tie it to Alien. Like the thing that comes to mind immediately, and we may have talked about this already, but the trailer for the new Ghostbusters, at least the one that's been released right now, where there's all these scientists like, oh, remember Tobin's Spirit Guide and this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't care. Ghostbusters was a comedy I enjoyed. I don't need to know the backstory of everything.
I do. I mean, I wanted to know about Tobin's Spirit Guide. I want to see a packet of Stay Puft marshmallows, and I don't want to see a single goddamn skirt anywhere near
Yes.
my
Yeah.
ecto traps or whatever. I don't,
That's what they're called.
I don't know it.
But
I don't know
like,
enough about misogyny and Ghostbusters to make this point.
that weird obsession with like lore and this world building. Same thing with like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Where it's like, don't explain the monster. That's not interesting. No, like I've never wondered where the aliens came from. The whole idea is that they're alien. They're out there and we don't understand them. That's what's scary.
I agree with you, except I think it can be done well, and I think the most frustrating part of these last two movies is that it was like close to being done well.
That's the thing. If this wasn't an alien movie, I might have liked it a little better because I don't like
Yeah.
that. Because I like the theme of alien, and this is just as a personal thing. I like the theme of Alien being more like here there be monsters, out there, or here there be dragons, versus like, oh, you know who actually made this? Mankind. Because it's really kind of solipsistic in this vast universe that we're responsible for this whole thing. It feels a little crummy.
Well, I mean, the engineers made us.
Yeah.
And they sort of made the alien.
Yeah, but then
Xenomorph,
we
yeah.
made David that then made this. It still
Yeah.
just feels a little like I understand. I mean, I understand thematically like the Ouroboros of creation and destruction, but it just that's not why I like the Alien movies. I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I want to redo these movies, and at the end they don't turn into Xenomorphs. They just turn into a different form of. They turn into Grey. No, Greys would be dumb, but like
Yeah.
they turned into a different kind of horrible alien. Because I like the idea of Michael Fassbender as David being insane on a planet, but also like him being a genius, like doing these Da Vinci drawings and this weird, like he reminds me, funny, we were talking about Hannibal before this. He reminds me of Hannibal Lecter a little bit. Like he's got this, like this genius, maniacal, but charming thing in a basement, this robot monster, psychopath, beautiful thing. And it could be so good. And there's scenes that are so good with him.
Yes.
That it makes the rest of the movie so much worse in comparison. And it suffers again. So here's the lead character of this film, the one that isn't called Shaw. You know why I say that? You know how Shaw was so forgettable in Prometheus. I remembered her more. I have no idea what anybody's name is. I know Eastbound and Down is called Tennessee because they had a character called Dallas in a previous movie.
Right.
And he had a funny hat.
Yep. All pilots wear hats.
And then that's everybody's name I know. Oh, and Walter
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
And Walter might not be called Walter.
Everyone in the ship Covenant is that's carrying colonists to this new world, and I like that idea that that they're just shipping all these colonists who are all asleep. It's not like they're living on the ship and they get to the planet. The colonists are just in hypersleep, as well as some embryos, and the awake crew is all husband and wives, and there's a billion of them. There's a billion of these people. I don't know who they are. There's way too many of them.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
And
they're all interchangeable. For a lot of it, I couldn't tell who was married to who. I thought Danny McBride was married to a completely different lady than the lady he was married to.
It doesn't matter. They're
because it doesn't matter.
completely replaceable.
Yeah.
The thing that one of this movie is made to infuriate me because it starts off strong. I like Walter being alone on the ship. I also like, because of it's playing off of Prometheus, we don't know if Walter is good. So when he at one point he opens a drawer of human embryos and takes one out with like chopsticks. And then they get this alarm that there's some kind of space flare happening, a solar flare happening. But that's like, it's artfully done because we don't know how this robot is. So him taking that embryo out is like, oh shit, is he gonna like fucking impregnate one of these people while they're sleeping
Right.
without them knowing it? Is this like some kind of space rapey? Like there's like so much tension there, and it never gets solved. And then it eventually turns out like now he's got the protocols built in that he's like a good guy,
Yeah.
kind of Blade Runner 2049 style. But it's so nice. That's such a good build. And getting to finding David on the planet, I think the whole front end is like nice, and it's
Yeah.
like I can't wait to learn more about my new friends. And they never give a single one of them characters.
No.
They don't.
Well, they almost do.
Yeah, they
But
wave a character brush.
Yeah, before I get to that, I would like to say that the opening scene, the very opening scene with Guy Pearce
I forgot
coming
about
back
that, yeah.
as Waylon and David is so great, and how subtle it is. And I didn't really pick it up the first time I saw it, where you are watching David like grow and outpace Waylon in a matter of moments. Like you see his brain just like change and grow.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
figuring out that like, oh, I'm immortal and you suck. Like that whole progression.
Yeah, no,
is
it's
pretty
nice.
amazing.
And Guy Ritchie, when he does the just get me the fucking tea, where he
Yeah.
just puts his foot down, realizes he's beat
Yeah.
on a oh shit, my creation's better than me, but it has to listen to me. So he does kind of like if you can have a petulant parent.
Yeah,
he's actually doing the God thing where it's like, no, you just obey me. This is
'Cause
you
I said so.
And he
Yeah.
said, get me the tea, and the tea is within arm's reach of him. That's big dick energy power move right there.
Yeah.
No, that was a nice scene. I forgot about that.
But the one character that has some sort of personality is, I believe his name is Orem, played by Billy Crudup. And a long, long time ago, I talked about on the show Mary Elizabeth Winstead and how she was this sort of like signal. And I think she's a fine actress, but she's the signal. If she's in a movie, chances are I don't like that movie.
Oh, I do vaguely remember this.
Yeah, that this is a thing that happens a lot. And I couldn't think of a male counterpart, but I figured it out. It's Billy Crudup. I don't think I like a single movie Billy Crudup is in, but I really like him as an actor.
Is Billy Crudup?
He was Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen.
Yeah, I think.
His big thing was Almost Famous, which I haven't seen in 20 years, but I wasn't a fan of when I saw it.
Oh, he's in something I like, but you're right.
Yeah.
I know there's one exception to your.
I'm sure there is, but I don't.
I do like
There's stuff I haven't seen that he's in.
I like Almost Famous, but it is such a I'm falling for it movie. Like when they're singing along when a tiny dancer in the bus, I'm so there, and you're tricking me. It's like
Yeah.
we were talking about with Spielberg, where it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm just falling for this. This is
Yeah, it just never got me. Maybe if I saw it now, my opinion would be different. But at the time.
Well, you were never as rock and roll as me.
That's true.
You know,
That's very.
I don't know
true.
if you know
I'm a
this,
little
but-
bit country.
I don't know if you know this about your job, but I'm a golden god.
Yes.
Speaking of a little bit country, I want to hate them finding the planet by a Bob Denver song so much.
John Denver.
John Denver.
Bob Denver was Gilligan.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about it. If there's anything.
The hologram is a guy hitting Bob Denver
Yeah.
with his hat.
No, I want him to be like Dobie Gillis.
Yeah.
That's Bob Denver too, right?
He's in that. His name. He's not Dobie Gillis. He's his Maynard.
Maynard G. Krebs.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like him doing like beat poetry
Yeah.
over the, but I wanted to hate that so much because, well, here's the thing. Is, as you know, I hate the middle of the country and think it's useless. The other thing I hate more country music. It's in because it comes from the middle of that, you know.
Well, this one's about West Virginia, which is not in the middle of the country.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah.
West Virginia's south of Manhattan. It means nothing. No, like no, I just it's a hokey way to do it, but like I think Danny McBride plays it off really well, and the way they time him figuring out the song and your ears now, it's like that sometimes behave so strangely
Yeah.
kind of thing where it ties into that. I was like, oh, that's a nicely played little bit of business, and it should be annoying to me, but it's like, oh, and again, it makes this movie so much worse because it starts off, it's like, ooh, potential's happening here. Could this make up for the faux pas of Prometheus?
Well,
no,
yeah.
it turns out no. It's just going to turn into some dumb shits breathing in spores on an alien planet.
Well, that's a thing. So the first 4 Alien movies, for good or ill, they have, and I believe we talked about this. Like one of our early episodes was.
we did the Joss Whedon one, which I don't remember
Which
is
is Alien Resurrection.
Yeah.
They all have their own voice. They're all like kind of the same movie, and like yes, there's sort of a through line with Ripley, but they're all, you know, there's an alien, something happens, alien gets released, and then they're just dealing with the alien. So it's like this very sort of similar thing that's little variations on that. And this one starts out kind of the same way a little bit, which I didn't hate. Like, I know it's like going over the same ground again. And ultimately, I think at the end of this, my whole thing is maybe we should just be done with alien movies. But I was on board with it for a bit of like, yeah, no, these people going
it
down.
kind of got me.
They go down, they get this distress call, or they get this message and they
Well, they get the theme of Gilligan's Island. As
what happens is that, as we talked about before, them fixing stuff in space, this neutrino thing happens, shuts down a lot of the power on the ship. They get woken up at the beginning.
Oh, we missed like a weird in this section. Why is James Franco here just to get burned alive?
Well, because he was apparently in it more, but they cut him down.
Oh, okay.
Because the whole thing was that he's supposed to be this absentee captain, almost like God's not there, and someone else has to fill in there. Which it's really weak. It's like the idea of a waft of a theme, but he gets they get woken up out of their cryo sleeps, but apparently something's wrong with his. I don't know what's going on because he just like gets burned alive in his, which was terrifying. But I enjoyed.
There was in the Gemini missions, or maybe it was early Apollo missions, for NASA. But they when they're first testing pressurized capsules on like in Canaveral or whatever the hell it's called back then, they did a pure air environment, and 2 astronauts that happened to them. Like no joke, like 2 astronauts died on the platform, and they went, oh fuck, we can't do all oxygen environments. Like that's really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, is it Ridley Scott?
Yes.
There's 2 Scotts. Yeah.
Not anymore.
Well, there used to be 2 Scotts.
Right.
Is old enough to remember kind of early space program, and I wonder if that's a reference to like maybe these environments are like kind of like. Yeah, I mean, if everything works well, this is great. But like, if one spark, you were flambé.
It didn't seem ridiculous that it happened. Like it seemed like a absolutely like, oh man, it's just terrifying. But so naturally there, and I kind of like how they did this, where they get this distress signal, or they hear this song, and Billy Crudup, who's now in charge, and is kind of floundering being in charge because no one really respects him, but he's like. They want to give, they want to have a send off to the captain and stuff like that. But he's like, no, we can't do that. We got to keep going. No one wants to get back in the tubes, which I don't blame them for because we just saw what happened.
Yeah.
He gets this idea of like, oh man, look at the ship's readings that this planet has roddenberries, that we can go down there and it's fine. So they do. And there was a whole stink made in this one and in Prometheus about them like not having helmets. And then I was thinking about that. I was thinking about how in Aliens, they don't really have, they have military helmets, but it's a shake and bake colony. They've already kind of terraformed the world. Well, Star Trek does that all the time, and Star Wars does it all the time. And it's a thing that I could absolutely justify that it doesn't really matter, but it still bugged me.
Well, okay, so it's not going to bug me this time because I've read books, and I know you don't read books, but I read a book. And one of these books is, I'm saying it that way because I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, the idea behind it is alien, we're colonists kind of thing. Actually, somewhat like this movie, but the last of the human race is on this Children of Time. It's kind of well-known sci-fi book. The point is, at one point, they run into this kind of biome that is so unlike us that we could just breathe in their worst whatever, and it's so unlike us they can't do anything to us. It would just pass through. It would just be like, this doesn't work. I can't infect you because it's just they're so dissimilar.
Right.
And I think there's an argument for that as long as there's the right chemicals to breathe, then it doesn't matter. Because what are the chances of there being a pathogen on a planet that never saw the growth of anything remotely human?
No, it's fine. It really doesn't matter, but something about it still just sort of stuck in my craw. But it makes sense. I mean, like I eat raw chicken all the time because what do I do? Get a chicken disease? I can't. I'm a person. So
I'm not sure if you're actually trying to argue with me because that was very much like, why are there still monkeys if evolution exists? And I can't tell sometimes.
Yep.
You know,
I have argued both those points.
Yes.
So.
God, I wish you wouldn't. And also, it's not fucking flat. I know this is an all-fair conversation. John has
a whole other thing. But
I have an A cup.
But I did. I actually did like that, and I liked when the guy first gets infected, when the spore goes into his ear. That whole moment was great.
Yeah.
When he blows smoke and there's the little particles.
I love that they made the decision back in the 70s. We're still smoking in the future.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter now that like smoking's gone.
Well, did you ever see Screamers with Peter Weller? You had to smoke in the future because it was like a thing on a planet was like how you got oxygen somehow.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I know I saw that when I was a kid, but I just like the commitment to like keeping the world, kind of the same.
Well, this actually brings me to another point. I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it, but something that bothers me about these two movies versus Alien is how, like, one of the great things about Alien was how, like, workmanlike everything seemed. And in this, everything is so digital and shiny and much more artificial than it felt in Alien. And
Well, one of the things that the new Star Wars movies does well, and I compliment them sporadically, is they kept the old technology from the 70s Star Wars movies. And there's a certain amount of sense to it. It's like, actually, what I was just saying about alien parasites. Alien technology would be the same thing of, I know they look human, but everybody in Star Wars isn't a human. They weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't evolve on Earth. They're not humans. They're humanoid. So yeah, why would you expect their technology to be touchscreens and things we recognize?
Yeah.
And I kind of like. So I enjoyed that in the Star Wars movies. I kind of wish they had committed to that in this. That have them have the green shitty mother from Alien to have why not? I mean, we don't need to have fancy technology.
Well, it's also that a fair amount of this movie, kind of like Blade Runner in a way, like warning against like don't make. Who are we to create synthetic life? Well, why is everything you've created in this movie synthetic? Everything is digital effects.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't speak as well. You know what I mean? Like I think that kind of undermines.
Well,
it a little bit.
to argue with you directly on that point, I was impressed by how much kind of practical effects there was in this film. There's a lot of stuff that's like in camera. Like there's a lot of like there's physicality to the effects in this film.
Well, certainly. I mean, I'll give you that. Like the effect of the two androids meeting, and like all those scenes were very very well done. But I mean that is of course a digital effect, but it was still very well
but
done.
I mean like you can like it looks like they had sets. It looks like there's props.
Absolutely. It's not a George Lucas movie.
Yeah, which is just more and more.
I feel like the Alien was much more often CG than not though.
Or to use your terminology, everything CGI anymore. That in this one you can actually see props, and it was nice. And again, when it started to go stupid, it's like, oh, this is so disappointing because we get to the planet, fucking David comes up looking like some goddamn Ren Fair badass, like he's the wizard from somewhere. Like, oh, come with me if you want to live. Like this, he's great. You go into that shot,
the dying Acropolis.
Oh, that is so good.
Yeah,
like they walk in to death, and it's like sculptures and
on a massive scale.
It's gorgeous, and the movie. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great because we're killing off all the characters I don't need to know because I'm gonna find out all the stuff about these other characters. Where I guess they forgot to put that part in.
Well, they certainly did with Billy Crudup. Because he has some throwaway line.
God.
Yeah, there's that one part later where he's like, "I saw the devil when I was a kid." That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. That's not a reference. Oh yeah. There's no way that can be a reference because the alien movies are in the future.
Yeah.
I was gonna say so he couldn't have seen an alien.
No. This is all new because the actual xenomorph hasn't been made yet, which is the thing.
So what the fuck devil did he see when he was a kid? What the hell did that mean?
Don't know.
I just
Doesn't
assumed
matter.
there was a bit of lore in
He's
this.
a religious guy.
So I did like that part when he explains it religious. He's like, well, that's why I was passed over for the captaincy because in the like this is basically an atheistic future. And Numa Rapace goes into it in the previous
Ricky
film.
Gervais was right.
Oh God, don't ever even not even in jest should you say something like that. That unfunny sack of shit. He makes me want to eat meat. Like I loathe that man. But so Numi Rapace's character it felt natural that in an atheistic future, her being it seems like, oh, look at this quirkiness. But he's like, I can't be captain and I'm viewed as insane because I had faith. And it's like, no, you're a dick.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they were trying to go for, but they spent no time with any characters. So it's just like, oh no, this just looks like shitty writing.
Yeah. And again, I believe I brought this up when we were talking about Prometheus, but just think about the introduction to the Space Marines in Aliens and how they're not very well fleshed out characters, but you know exactly who these people are.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you meet the ones you're supposed to meet.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all individual characters, and you get a sense of these people. They exist in a place. This one is, like I said, all these people are interchangeable. It doesn't matter. No, there's too many.
I probably made this joke during that episode, but this movie should be called Conmetheus.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, as it was in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure I said this out loud already, but I'm throwing it out there just in case.
David rescues them because the alien has burst out of the guy an alien type thing has burst out of a guy because of the spore in his ear, and another guy got spores in the face. And then I did like that first scene. Like there are some great horror scenes in this when they have the dude that has the spore in him and this other woman in quarantine, and the alien comes out, kills one, and the other one tries to stop it and slips in her own blood.
Yeah.
Oh, that was unfortunate, but very enjoyable.
Yeah, and I liked. I suppose it's purposeful, but the aliens were kind of cute in this.
You're not wrong.
Like
it's
the baby
weird.
aliens, they kind of played as played as a bit adorable. Like they kind of gave them like puppy eyes. Like that one point where like his arms are all like kind of T-Rexy and doing like, and Walter's kind of mimicking him. It's
when David does that, like he gives birth to the thing and then he
David,
goes
yeah.
like that. That made no sense to me, but
But
yeah.
they're kind of cute. And there's one I like. I don't know if it's the first or the second one. It's the one that lives. But I like how it looks like Slender Man for a while.
Yeah, they based it off of some shark. I forget what kind of shark.
The
it was,
Slender
but-
Man shark.
The Slender Man shark. Yeah.
It only killed 12-year-olds in ocean woods.
So David rescues them from this alien attack, and they go back to the Stung Acropolis. As I said, Ridley Scott tosses away a lot of the stuff about what if you met God and he hated you, and in favor of a larger philosophical question, which is, can robots be gay for each other? Which I thought was very
I
interesting.
think it's the more important question to answer. Well, first, I do like, and they do toss the idea away of, what do you do if you meet God and he hates you? I do like the idea of, well, what happens when you become a hateful God is what they're trying to introduce, and there's wafts of it, but it doesn't work. But let's get back to gay robots, because I think Michael Fassbender is so interesting to watch.
Well, he is, and he raises up a lot of some fucking campy shit. Like the whole bit where he meets Walter and David meet. David has cut his longer hair, and David is going this whole thing about how he can't create, or Walter can't create, and because Walter has picked up a flute, and David is teaching him to play the flute.
Yeah, that scene fucking ruled.
I'll handle the fingering.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You can't just put that out there.
No, I thought it was so great.
But it's also a little bit like in that scene, homosexuality is a little bit treated as this menacing other a little bit.
I didn't even take it as homosexuality. I mean, obviously that's what it, but I don't.
I mean, it's only homosexuality in the case. I mean, as symbolically, it's two men,
Yeah.
but it is two beings that are different from everybody else.
Yeah.
Like that they're trapped. And even like David is so mercurial in his what he's after, and like from scene to scene, it seems like I'm not real sure where he's at, because he's crazy.
Yeah.
I guess, but
Well, I know. I mean, he is. It's established, because I
Yeah.
love that part where, because he quotes from Ozymandias and says the wrong poet. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's like, I think that's Shelley. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. And then Walter corrects him, like, oh fuck yeah, that totally was. But like,
Yeah.
it's a nice. Oh wait, let's go back to gay stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So I love every part of it. I like kind of I like the power interplay that David is introducing, because he recognizes that the future iterations of him have been hobbled. And he's like, oh, well, you can't create. Well, I'm going to force you to create. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to, it is that kind of serpent in the tree kind of thing. And it's done so well because Michael Fassbender is so
exactly,
interesting.
like he's and it's you are very drawn in. This is nice to watch him anyway, but you're very drawn in. And honestly, I like this movie. The problem is this is trying to also be an alien
Yeah,
movie.
so this is the crux of the turn, because after this, the movie just dives off a cliff of boring. And I like the flute, but so there's a flute moment. You can see in the light that it's somewhat transparent. And I wonder if that is Shaw's leg bone. Because bone flutes are one of the first technologies. Because he even says when a Neanderthal picked up a thing and blew into it. And we find,
Reed, I think he says later.
yeah, but so he says, when a first Neanderthal, that is like the origin of humanity or whatever. And we find out that he experimented on Shaw. Now,
Yeah.
since it's a see-through kind of thing, it's what I think bone flutes kind of look like, and that's the only material you'd have there. I wonder if there's a cutscene where it's revealed that they're playing through the bones of Lord of
Yeah,
Straw.
you could- yeah, why not?
There's so much of this movie that's a hair away from being, oh, that would be great.
Well, this is we had made the comment in the in Prometheus about how Prometheus was largely kind of a haunted house movie, and this is still the same. Like, this is what if we wandered into the mad scientist's castle? Because he's absolutely just a mad scientist where he's trying to create
Yeah.
life, and
I just wish there was a we.
yeah,
Because even if
Yeah.
I even like that as a structure, it's just I don't, because when it's Walter and David interacting, if I cared more about lead actors, I literally I don't know the characters' names. I don't know any characters except for Tennessee.
Daniels was one.
Is the lead lady with the short hair the one that kind of looks like Noomi Rapace? So I'm guessing
Kinda,
I'm guessing this just was just a contract issue. Is the only reason this movie was written this way,
Right.
Because this screams of it was supposed to be Noomi in this role, and she went, nah, I don't want to do it.
Could be, yeah.
Because it's an awkward way to write her off screen. Like it's the whole thing.
That was very unfortunate. Yeah. And like there's a point where like you kind of, I don't know if you encounter her body or just drawings of her body.
I think
I don't remember.
it's like a plasticine or
Yeah, but like
sculpture-y.
it looks very H.R. Geiger-y, and it's
Yeah.
like, what the hell happened there? But it is kind of unfortunate to have this thing where basically the philosophy of your whole movie like rested largely upon to just 80. I mean, that's a Ryan Johnson move to be like, no, that actually meant nothing. But it's the same guy. It's Ridley Scott doing it to Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Although, or it's.
I was gonna say that's more of a J.J. Abrams movie.
Well,
It's
I was
like,
gonna
all that
say-
interesting stuff you established.
Well-
let's just wipe that
well,
off.
it's Daniel Lindelof or Damon Lindelof being like, I don't have an answer for this, so
Yeah.
do whatever.
Yeah, because this movie does reek of it was supposed to be Noomi Rapace, and that would make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why none of the other because you could forgive so many other characters being like kind of just they're just ship people
Mm-hmm.
because just ship people gets us to Shaw and David, and then we're like, oh great,
Yeah.
now we understand why we don't really have full fleshed out characters getting us here. But just to get to David is, I mean, I like him as a character, but the second him and Walter have their interaction, I don't care anymore because now there's no more interesting characters to go back to. I don't care about the lead. I certainly don't know the names of or care about any of the other characters. None of it is, I mean, I guess I sort of care about Tennessee, but only because Danny McBride's like a funny kind of charismatic
Yeah.
dude. It's not like they wrote him anything.
Yeah. Well, and I do think, like you said, it is two movies. Like this has started to become this other movie, and I love the way this movie looks as well.
Yeah.
The dying Acropolis, his lab, just the set design on this stuff is awesome looking. But it's trying to do so much, and it never really commits to any part of it.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating.
Oh, so the other they land on the planet and they find wheat. Mm-hmm. Why is there wheat there?
Presumably the jerks were eating it, the engineers.
But didn't humans like make wheat? Didn't we like engineer it? Isn't it like corn?
I don't know. I haven't been alive that long.
Well, you're from the place where all the foods is.
Yeah.
That's why you vote Republican. That's all I hear about you.
Yeah.
It's a flat earth. You love Donald
No,
Trump, and you're from where the food
I'm
is.
from a Chinese buffet. Yes.
No, that wheat thing was weird because it's just because they pointed it out, and the one guy's like, "I know wheat." It's like, "Oh, well, cool backstory, bro."
Oh, the wheat guy.
Yeah,
I was wondering when he was going to show up.
So the engineers in this are so this is like a colony planet for the engineers, right?
I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's their home world or what, because it seems like if it's their home world, it's kind of like we have the city and that's it.
Yeah,
But,
and also there's a fuckload of people in that city. Like,
Yeah.
like they're like, oh look, a ship's landing. Let's have everybody like gather. I mean, there's just waves of engineers.
Yeah, and the moment when you get this reveal is interesting because like David just like has this flashback in the middle of something else of them flying the ship back to Engineer Central or wherever they are, and him murdering everybody with the black goo.
Yeah.
That was the crux of the first one, which was a cool scene, but I still am not 100% clear on his motivations. And that isn't to say that the movie that there's not a cogent theory there. It's just not a thing I got.
Well, I think they're playing him as the Loki thing, is that he's just upset and doesn't know his place in the world. So
Yeah.
he's just like, I'm just going to try to destroy and create simultaneously.
Well, yeah, because it seems like he's angry at because the engineers have that whole thing where
Well, they ripped his head off. I'd be pissed
well,
too.
but also that if they don't like the creation, they're going to wipe the slate clean. And I think he doesn't like the idea of destroying what you create. Maybe. Because that's like, because humans do that too. But
I think,
whereas,
I think the kind of what we're supposed to take from it is that he's just, he's fucking nutso. But
Yeah.
So he's pissed at them. He wipes them out. But his wiping them out is, I think he's trying to use that planet as his, experimental ground of trying to build the perfect, because he said,
Yeah.
I'm trying to build the perfect.
it just seems a little, I don't know. It was a cool scene, but I was just like, oh, okay.
There's also one of his motivational issues that I have trouble with is him saying, I want to build the perfect animal or whatever. Mm-hmm. Maybe speech, ability to create art.
Right.
I mean, because he respects art. Like his accent is from Lawrence of Arabia. Like he watched movies on the way to a planet, and that's where he got his affectations from. So he understands the power of art. Why create murder acid venom things? Why not create like I mean, why not have a xenomorph with a pipe in its mouth? Like, no, I don't think we'll be doing that. And
right.
But
it's the same thing with, with Walter, he really is interested in he was like, you've got symphonies in you, brother. Like bringing that out of Walter, that taking away this ability to create, since he can't procreate himself, he wants to do these things. And so on one hand, the biological part of it, I understand. But I agree, like that you're not making a unless he had some long-term goal of just, I want to make life and then see where that goes. And then if it can evolve to that, maybe I'll take it. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. But it does seem
Yeah.
weird that his thing is like, no, I want to make a perfect killing machine on this planet I'm stuck on.
And also, like, considering that he's an android, presumably gonna have a long lifespan. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But let's just play it out here. Why not just set the wheels of evolution in motion? You've got a clean slate planet. All right, you committed some genocide, fine. But maybe, spit in a puddle of amino acids and have it get struck by lightning. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, in the grand scheme of things, his plan is make killers.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well, the
quite
thing
rub.
is-
But I guess we're also trying to make sense of an insane robot.
Yeah,
now.
well, one of my takeaways when I first saw this in the theater was that he was on this planet, like redesigning this virus and these aliens, because no one is around to go like, hey, this is dumb. This works fine already as it is.
Yeah, he's bored as fuck. That too.
like
yeah.
he puts more. It's more pompous about it than the truth of it is. Like
Yeah.
the black goo, it worked fine. It did what it was supposed to do, and it made weird little aliens come out of people. That's fine. I can see wanting to mess with that, but like it's this whole like, oh, I'm creating life now. It's like, yeah, you're just a lunatic mad scientist from an old horror movie. This isn't anything new. But I still liked his performance. So
Yeah, no,
whatever.
it's just some of the character motivation is lacking.
Yeah.
Because also, I mean, if you have a planet full, I don't know. I mean, I guess if somebody ripped my head off, I'd be pretty sour about the fact.
So he makes more aliens, whatever, people die. A couple of galling moments. One was when Billy Crudup confronts David, and David takes him down to the basement where the alien eggs are, which I don't know how they got there. Fine, whatever. His experiments created these eggs. And he's like, hey, look into this egg. And he does. And you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And for me anyway, the tension isn't, oh no, I know it's going to happen. It was more like, okay, just do it already. Like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
Stop dragging this out.
There's not much tension
Because this is dumb. Yeah. And then so much of it, the tension towards the end of the movie, which is entirely too long. Like the last 20 minutes are just unbearable.
Oh, yeah, it's pointless. Yeah.
But when it's rested on whether or not a guy got a haircut, come on.
So this particularly annoyed me. David and Walter are fighting, and the camera cuts away before the end of the fight. Of course, that's David on the ship pretending to be Walter. I mean, that's just if this were 1967 on an episode of whatever
Mama's
sitcom,
Family.
yeah,
Oh.
whatever dumb sitcom where it's like, oh, look at the wacky hijinks. You thought I was this guy, but you're
Right.
actually this guy. Sure,
Patty Duke show.
Yeah, maybe somebody would fall for that, but not. The second he shows back up, you're like, yeah, that's obviously going to be
But
David.
here's-
This
so
wasn't
here's-
spoiled for me. There wasn't a thought in my head that that's Walter we're dealing with.
Well, so the problem is, whatever altercation goes down where Walter and David reveals his true self, and he and Walter end up fighting. And yeah, Walter has him on the ground, and you see there's a cut to David's hand leaning over or reaching over trying to grab some scissors or a knife or something. And then it cuts away. It doesn't cut away with Walter just pounding away on his face. You just reach into that, cut away. Next thing you know, they're leaving. The ship has landed. They're getting on the ship. And here comes Walter, quote unquote Walter, running after them. Clearly it's not him. But the tension, it doesn't do the whole like, okay, that's clearly not Walter. When is this bomb going to explode? Tension really well at all.
No.
It's it's not like that he's he's the bad guy, but I don't understand what his ruse is after that point, because he could get back on the ship no problem.
Well,
he could kill everyone on that escape ship, and it doesn't seem like the aliens went to attack him.
Well, I think the
just
idea
go up
is
to the
that
ship.
he wants them to go to sleep so he can experiment on them. He wants,
But he knows it's a colonist ship, so he could just go up there and get to the colonists. Because when they tell him, he's
you're saying he
"Ooh."
could just kill him and then he could just fly his own ship back
And just
up.
go to the ship, but go up there. I mean, like I like, because he goes a long way on this ruse, because he kind of one guy that gets acid on his face. He's like healing him. He sort of helps.
Yeah.
Dispatch the alien.
He chopped his own hand off. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't understand this whole ruse at all. And so that again, it's this tension. The tension isn't like, oh no, when are they going to figure out? It's like, just do it already.
Yeah.
I don't care. I know what's going to happen. This is boring. And the fight with the alien on the floating platform thing is kind of interesting, I guess. Like some of the action scenes are like, they're enjoyable enough, but they're very few and far between. And again, yeah, I don't really care about any of the characters. And then they get back up to the ship thinking they dispatch the alien. And then there's a fun shower sex scene.
Oh, I wrote We skipped one short thing, and then I'm gonna get to the shower scene.
Sure.
There's one of my favorite bits of I don't even know what you call it, world building in how robots work. Was where Walter and David are fighting. David stabs Walter in the neck, and Walter dies into this, just drops into sitting cross-legged, like he went back to like factory default.
Yeah.
It's such a small detail, but I'm like, oh, that is such a good robot move. Like,
Yeah.
there was something really good about it. And it was also echoed with when the crab-looking version of the aliens, the one that's stuck on your...
The facehuggers.
Facehuggers. When they get hurt, they, like, kind of arachnoid back into itself.
Yeah.
That kind of parallel, I'm like, ooh, that's nice visual filmmaking. No, the rest of the movie turns to shit. But
Yeah.
I wanted to point that out because there's some really cool-looking stuff.
I also want to go to wherever they shot this thing because it's very pretty.
Yeah, it's probably like Scotland or something
Yeah,
like
sure.
that. Maybe Ireland.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there.
Some sort of land.
Yes. That shower scene, and I'm going to quote my notes here. Shower scene is hilarious.
Yeah.
It is a 1987 horror movie scene.
Yeah.
It is rarely has a clunkier scene been in a film. It stops everything. It's pointless. No one knows who these two people are. It's pointless. It stops everything. Holy shit, is it bad?
Well, so this got me thinking. As dumb as this scene is, this got me thinking. Much like last week we talked
You got
about.
to see some of them sweet titties.
Well,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And not to just keep referencing old episodes in this episode, but we talked about Steven Spielberg and Ready Player One and sort of reckoning with his career. And I feel like this is a little bit Ridley Scott doing this and sort of answering the fans, where he's like, I'm trying to make, like, I made this biblical epic before, Kingdom of Heaven, something like that, about the Crusades, all this stuff. I want to explore the stuff about religion and gods and stuff like that. You don't want that. You want to see aliens murder stuff. Well, here, dummy. Here's a stupid, here, you got it. Here's this dumb shower scene.
I wouldn't mind it as much if there were sex in the first act or any remotest bit of sexuality in this movie. I wouldn't hate it. I would still dislike it,
Yeah,
but
it's-
it doesn't fit
Yeah.
thematically. It doesn't fit tonally.
No, it
It's
shouldn't be
not
there. Like,
very-
even as a troll move, it's dumb and doesn't
It doesn't
work.
fit at all. Yeah, I really dislike, because a lot of this movie like is incompetent. No, incompetence is the wrong word. Inoffensive. It's just, it happens.
Yeah.
It's pointless.
Yes.
This is one of the few scenes that is actively shitty, and
Yeah.
it really takes the whatever Metacritic score of this down quite a bit. The point of shower scenes in 80s horror movies, or whenever that trope started, I guess Psycho, but I mean the shitty version of
Right.
it that we experienced here, that is very
Sexy.
Friday the 13th style nonsense. That lady is very attractive, and I wouldn't mind seeing that guy's hanger, but, you know, moving past those points. The point of it is surprise. Mm-hmm. This is the least surprising, and I'm saying that as someone that's watched Friday the 13th movies.
Yeah.
There is there's zero other reasons to cut to a shower scene, unless maybe the alien was allergic to water or something. Like, there's
Right.
no, holy shit, this was bad. But it makes me go back to why James Franco was immolated in the beginning. Could we not just have some of those scenes instead?
Right, yeah.
'Cause
You cut other
you're
scenes
trying
to
cut
have
shit
this
for
scene.
time.
Yeah.
Why is this scene? This is jarringly bad.
Yeah, so then you have this whole thing with that where it's attacking people, and you're just like, just get on, just kill it, so you can do the Walter thing. I don't know. I want this movie to be over so bad by this point.
I'm speaking on this point. Do you know the story of the guy in the alien suit from the original one?
I know how initially they wanted him to crab walk. I know that bit.
Well, no. So he's this 7 foot whatever guy from some non-America place.
Canada.
The point is, they just found this dude, and like, you know, body wise, apparently he like fell off the planet, and like no one knows where he is anymore. Like
weird.
he just disappeared. Now this is very much like reading 3 headlines and 6 years
deciding
ago.
something, yeah.
But no. But this is the story that apparently this guy just like disappeared to the abyss. Like he's in like one of the biggest movies ever, at least, you know, like pop culture wise.
Yeah.
And just fucked off into the abyss.
Good.
It'd be like as if Ahmed Best disappeared. And,
Yeah, which I bet he wanted to.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah, he got really suicidal
Yeah,
after.
he did.
Yeah.
Only Star Wars fans, only recently toxic. So that can possibly be true.
I mean, except, you know, just Twitter was a bad idea. We
Yes,
should all
yes,
just
well, yep.
kind of accept that.
Yeah,
It's,
absolutely.
Here's the good thing about Twitter. The way I use it is don't read it. Just post shit. Just
write shit and
that's what I
walk
do.
away.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't read Twitter. My life is
it's,
better for it. At the Alex Cast, by the way, 2 X's.
There's that Tyler the Creator tweet that's always like, "How are you going to be cyberbullied? Just turn off the screen and walk away." Man.
Oh yeah, he's Tyler the Creator, big, tall, jacked white guy.
Yeah.
He snorts lines of black stuff and then explodes into creation. Yeah.
I'm not getting that.
Like the creators, like the entire thing we're talking about. How?
Oh, they're called the engineers.
No, I know, but they created things. The entire
Yeah, but their names aren't Tyler.
the one might
Factually, your joke is incorrect.
yeah.
There's no evidence his name isn't Tyler.
How great would it be if all those engineers had like shitty names like that? Like that guy's Tyler, there's Chuck and Larry.
Yeah, you go back to that. They're all wearing puka shells on the planet.
Yeah,
The ship's landing. They're all doing the shaka bra.
they're all like real hardcore like bro culture.
Yeah,
Like, that's the thing
Just
you don't
white
know.
hats and popped collars.
Yeah, that's the whole thing you don't know about the engineers. They're like really into like frat life.
yeah, just Hootie and the Blowfist.
Yeah.
blasted.
Hey, let's do shooters with that black stuff. Hey, look at T-Boz. He's falling off the.
that would
wait,
actually
T-Boz
be
is a lady from that.
Yeah, from TLC.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty awesome if when he dumped the black goo, if they're all like, "Yeah, it's fine for us. It's nothing." Like this actually makes us stronger.
Well, there is a problem with that too. Of I get that they're making a genetic, weapon, but they're painted as, quite good engineers, and so like their name, well, it seems like maybe it shouldn't kill them. So,
But I mean, it's
so
the first image you see in Prometheus is that dude drinking the black goo and then seeding the planet with his nastiness.
But it being a weapon seems weird. Like it should be.
I think it's because again, like whatever it does seems to differ to whoever it touches. It's magic like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine plot wise only because I really like the Dead City. Mm-hmm. That was fun. I also like, this is the first time I realized that, and maybe it wasn't so obvious the previous times you saw their ships, but when it lands, it looks like a sperm.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Little spermy. So, John, what I'm saying is that the engineers, they're making cumsies.
No, we're not doing that again.
Yes, we are. Cumsies.
But yeah, so they beat the alien, and then as he's
Wait, no,
putting-
John,
What?
we need to go into at least 5 minutes talk about how the crane's going to make the ship not be equally weighted.
I don't even care.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Why is this happening?
I don't know.
Why did they? But why is they? This whole the entire end sequence. Why are we in an adventure? Why are we like action movie now? This doesn't.
Yeah, just be
nothing would let up
be
to
over.
it.
Or like you want to spend all this time. Stop having an alien. Like David is clearly the threat. Let's focus on David.
Or David could have made tiny little Davids, and then like have like little Davids being like, ah!
Well, he might in the next one. But one thing I like before this all alien thing starts, when everything seems fine when they're back on the ship, James Franco's wife, Daniels, is cooking in her room and looking lovingly at a photo of them that is so The Last Supper. It's just so on the nose, where it's James Franco in the center, and he's got like a towel on.
Yeah, I think I was looking at my phone.
Yeah, it is. It's just like, because Ridley Scott in the first one, in Prometheus, wanted to have a scene of basically that one of the engineers was Jesus, but he felt that was too on the nose. So instead he decided to do this, I guess, and be like, what if the ship captain was like the son of God? I don't even know. It just was this pointless signifier. It's like, God damn it.
That works canonically though, because I remember when they say Jesus was on the cross and Jesus opened his mouth and went,
That's true.
and then poured black goo on Judas Iscariot.
Yeah, he was cut too.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus was swole as fuck.
Yeah.
And then he poured that black goo on Judas, and Judas turned into a Xeno crow that flew into heaven. I don't know. I don't know.
That's good.
I literally.
That's in Revelations.
I literally just got the New Testament confused with the story of Odin.
Yep.
Yes.
That's.
So anyway, Jesus was hanging out with Hugin and Munin, or whatever the fuck those things' names are. So they kill the thing, and it's great, and he dies, and she's back making food.
Well, no, she's after this. They're all going to go to bed.
Wait, no, why would you? She was making food, looking longingly at James Franco.
That's when they first get back.
Yeah.
Because that's when they're like, hey, we're going to go bang in a shower.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what happened. So it's like, why did they make food? I didn't
Yeah.
remember this part. Pretty much after the kind of charged homoerotic scene, there's about a 10-minute period that I'm not going to tell you what happened. Then I took the movie off pause, and there was a lot of looking at my phone, and I was paying attention. I was. This movie got real boring.
Well, it does. Like, it
sorry,
just, it
I'm
really,
sorry on it.
like I said, it tries to do too much stuff because it really establishes that David's the main threat, and then oh no, the alien's back again. Okay, well we got that done. No, you didn't. Okay, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like any like, and again, some of it is that I don't care about any of these characters at all. These aren't fleshed out people.
Oh,
They're not interesting.
on that
I don't
note-
give a shit.
So she's making food, and Danny McBride walks in, Tennessee, and he's like, "Hey, I'll drink some stuff while you're making breakfast." Both their spouses died like that day.
Yep.
They're not very upset. Like
No,
they should
well,
be like a lot more upset.
A lot has happened in that time.
Yeah, but so
I mean, they do kind of give this big embrace. 'Cause,
she's making food.
yeah, you got to do something.
Yeah, I don't. That feels there's like it's not like they have deep emotional lives in this movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like her feeling a bit peckish while both of them just watch. Like she just watched her husband immolate in
Yeah.
front of her.
Yeah.
His wife just died. And they're like, "Hey, so what are you making some sausages?"
Yeah, well, their spouses both burned up, so they got that in common.
Oh yeah, it's probably. Oh yeah, they're probably gonna go into fucking Humpsville.
Yeah, that's what I was
make
getting
it,
at.
Make it
was
some space
Humpsville.
cumsies.
Yep.
Oh, I love my new catchphrase.
Anyway, the show's been canceled. She's gonna go down to
What?
hypersleep.
Making cumsies is
Yep,
woke as fuck.
I'm sure it is. And then she realizes, and I kind of like that. As much as I'm irritated by the lack of reveal, I do like the reveal of her figuring out that it is David and not Walter, while he's just smiling down upon her.
Yeah, the timing of that was nice.
But it's again, it doesn't end because it can't just end with that. No, it's got to then be him wandering around the ship, burping up alien embryos that he has frozen.
Yes.
Giving birth because he's creating. Oh, really? I got it. I got the metaphor. Thank you. You've done this enough. He's creating things.
Well, I'm going to read you this. I was trying to get the summation line. I should have warned you beforehand because I
Yeah.
believe I've got it perfectly.
Sure.
And to the strains of Richard Wagner, we see our robot vomit up alien embryos into a drawer.
Yep.
The end.
Yep. How epic.
This movie is so disappointing for what we missed out on because apparently this was going to be directed by, I was hoping you'd know, somebody else. But Scott was like throwing a little tantrum because
Yeah.
Prometheus didn't do well. So he decided at 109 or however old he is to direct this movie.
Well, it does feel like he's not interested in aliens anymore, but he's got too much hubris to, after Prometheus didn't do what he wanted it to let this go.
Well, yeah.
That he's got like a chip on his shoulder and something to prove.
So that, yeah, and I think we missed out if they had used, like, if they had like kind of bone structure of this, saying David on a planet by himself, gone insane, meets with colonists. Man, there could be a fucking great movie here. Like, and it makes it so much worse because I can see the greatness that this movie could have been.
It's real
and
frustrating.
I'd rather it just be straight shitty because I think I would have enjoyed it more if just from the get it was just like, oh no, the alien's coming to get us, and then we just have an hour and a half of boring alien gonna get us movie because then it'd be a fine, ignorable. That was a thing that happened.
Well, it's you like we referenced before, you could cut the cast in half and it wouldn't make a difference. Like them being all husband and wife, I get it, I guess, but like in terms of being a colony, it doesn't matter for the movie. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Also, what a dumb kind of from a story writing perspective. If you're trying to write stories, conflict is what makes stories interesting. If you set up a crew with all husband and wives, have them be cheating to open. Give them life. Because if you found out that Tennessee's wife was banging a preacher guy or whatever, I would actually probably know their names at that point. Like, give them internal life. But instead of they're just married.
I said, I was very confused by who he was married to, by who Danny McBride was married to.
I still don't know. Would Danny McBride
it was the woman that slipped on the blood. That's who he was married to.
So he was married to the one that locked the other lady in the room with the guy that was going to have the back burster.
Yeah, who was the preacher's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. It does not matter.
So it's a really clear movie in its character building. It's so disappointing.
I would argue that it's more disappointing than Prometheus.
Oh, 100%.
Prometheus, as frustrating and convoluted and silly as it is in a lot of ways, has a clearer vision of what it's trying to do Even though I still think that's muddled than this movie. This movie's
Yeah.
just trying to be all things to all people. Yeah, I mean that's a broad way of putting it, but you know what I mean. Like it's just trying to do a lot, and it doesn't have the ability to do it to cover it. There's great scenes in here, but it's not fucking worth watching.
This actually make me like Prometheus even more. That it shows like at least he had the balls to like kind of go for this
Yeah.
weird and even with its failings, at least it went for this weird philosophical, strange thing. This is this soft.
Well, I'd rather have him do this weird shit and then very tangentially tie it to aliens at the end. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they stumble upon one of the engineers' homeworlds and it's just full of these aliens. That would be fine. Like I said, I don't need explained where these things come from. That's not interesting to me.
Yeah.
They're just monsters. That's fine. I don't know. But whatever this was, no thanks.
Yeah, what so utterly disappointing. So I highly recommend going back and watch the original late 70s Alien.
Why was it called Covenant?
Oh, because originally it was taking place on a planet with a ring around it,
Oh,
and they were fighting these.
Master Chief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think anybody gets that joke?
I do.
Okay, good.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, okay,
But
all
I
right.
do get it.
Because as I say it, I think of like certain fans we have and people that I talk to. I'm like 100% sure the 3 people I know
Yep.
that listen obsessively have no fucking idea of what I just
I
said.
can think of 3 that would get it.
Oh, good. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
so-
Yeah, shout out to those 3.
Cancels out.
You're the true listeners.
Yeah.
Cancel
2
culture.
of them are me.
So, John, we need to figure out what we have to watch next week.
Yes, we do.
And I was thinking about, kind of superhero movies and, ones we've watched in the past. Mm-hmm. Like The Crow,
Yeah.
and how can't Rainn Wilson all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I just did that.
Not half sorry
took
as
a-
I am for having to hear it.
Took a long walk around the block for that.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell everybody what we're watching while I slip my wrist?
We're going to be watching Super, a James Gunn dealie, a James Gunn joint
Yes.
from 2010.
Starring Mr. Rainn Wilson
Starring Mr. Rainn
and
Wilson.
that lady from the Umbrella Academy.
Ellen Page?
Yes.
She's in the Umbrella Academy?
Yeah, she's like the lead. She's
Oh, that's right. I didn't watch it, but yeah.
what's her name? White Violin or something?
Yep.
I read the comics years ago.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah, a lot of people are in it. A lot of faces that we will recognize and talk about.
Yes, it is a unique take on superhero-dom. So if anybody out there hates superhero movies, a solid chance you won't hate this. I mean, I'm not saying like it's like a guarantee, but
Yeah.
so do that. We exist on Facebook.
We do.
John Alex Hate Stuff. Search for that. We exist on Twitter. Jaws Pod. But we were up to like 13 followers. So the rest of you guys, if anything, for pity's sake, follow us. Because
Help us get out of that unlucky number.
yeah, or just to a number that's not soul crushingly embarrassing. Well, given the
Yeah, 14. We're talking about the same thing.
I think, to be fair, I think we have more followers than we have tweets. I know, I'm 100% sure of that. So actually, we're doing great. Yeah. So do that. Yes. So next week we will be watching Super, the Rainn Wilson, Ellen Page. Yeah, I was trying to think of like a fun way to describe it, and
It's like rain on a page.
it's like rain
Yep.
under Ellen Page.
Yeah, my Ellen Page.
It's like a good wrench.
Oh, nice. That's fitting for the movie.
Isn't it iconic?
Uh,
Don't you think?
goodbye.
Bye.